Good morning. It's Tuesday, May 12th. I just finished reading an article, and the title of it is Choosing Shareholders Over Employees. And it deals with the fact that with the coronavirus going around, and employees not coming into work, and many companies having to shut down plants, and who are the first people to lose? The employees. And it turns out that companies like Levi Strauss and Caterpillar and Black & Decker and Steelcase, all of these plants in the manufacturing locations, right, are laying off workers or furloughing workers. And meanwhile, they're paying out $700 million in shareholders, to the shareholders, in cash dividends. So those are only a couple of the companies I mentioned, right? And let me tell you the other thing. These companies are probably putting in for a share of the corona relief package. Does that make any sense to you? We're putting workers out on the street. We're putting them on the dole. We're giving them unemployment insurance. We're doing all of these things to the benefit of these large corporations. And these corporations are not contributing anything. They're giving money to the shareholders. Now, I'm a shareholder in some companies. I got to admit that. But I would gladly give up my dividends for people to keep working. Now, there may be some shareholders who are living off of that money because they are retired or something. But at the very least, it should be a 50-50 split. We're fronting a huge burden. Unemployment insurance, health benefits, and the companies are giving money to the shareholders. And very few shareholders do anything for the benefit of the company they hold shares in. They vote periodically for the board of directors. But they don't do anything for that company. They invested in the company. The company made money. That's fine. But companies don't make money unless they have good employees. They don't make money unless they have good management. So why should, in the case of a situation like we're in economic stress all over the world, why should shareholders still keep reaping these benefits? Right? It's disturbing that we're giving millions of dollars to shareholders while leaving many workers without a paycheck. It's unfair, just unfair, and it's unconscionable. And don't tell me that when the time comes that all these people are going to be called right back to work. They won't be called back to work that quickly, but the shareholders will still be there. So when this company starts to make money again, the shareholders will make money again. But not the employees, not the employees. There is something wrong, totally wrong with this entire situation. And what about the corporate executives? I'm sure they're still drawing their huge salaries. I'm sure they haven't contributed anything to this pot. So that's my first rant of the morning. Now, just to make your day a little bit more exciting, here's the question. Michael Flynn pleaded guilty. Why is the Justice Department dropping the charges? I'm not an attorney. I'm not even close to being an attorney. I'm just an interested spectator in this whole thing. And to me, this thing looks like it's a pardon. It's a pardon engineered by Donald Trump and disguised as a technical legal matter. After 2 or 3 years, the Department of Justice decided, after an extensive review and careful consideration of the circumstances, continued prosecution of this case would not serve the interests of justice. Now, there was a point at which, in this case, Michael Flynn was up before the judge, and the judge was supposed to sentence him. Now, had the judge sentenced him, and this is back in 2018, what would they be doing now? They'd have to pardon him. So the judge, by delaying the sentences for whatever reason he had, left this thing hanging And Flynn continued to work and hem and haw and switch lawyers and did a whole bunch of hanky-panky. And finally, Trump and Barr decided that they would have this internal review of the case, and the Justice Department exonerated the guy. Well, they didn't exonerate him. They just said they couldn't go forward with the investigation. Basically, you have the Justice Department saying that they can't prove that Flynn committed the crime he confessed to. And that is simply not worth prosecuting anymore, even though he already pleaded guilty. Does that make sense to you? We laymen can't comprehend that. I stand up and I say, I'm guilty. I did those things. And then somebody comes along and says, he didn't do it. He couldn't do it, even though he said he did it. He didn't do it. What cockamamie bullshit is that? The reality of the situation is that Trump and his Attorney General, Bill Barr, think the Russian investigation was bogus to begin with. Flynn's lawyers, for their part, have insisted that the FBI mishandled the investigation and entrapped him. So, does that mean there's a legitimate legal reason for the Department of Justice to drop this case? No, there's none. So what is the justice going to do moving forward? Look, I know from reading some things that a prosecutor can drop the case anytime he wants. But it's very unlikely that they would drop a case if somebody has pleaded guilty. That would be most unusual circumstances. And that's the unusual circumstances that we're looking at here. So in my opinion, he pleaded guilty. And he was guilty. But Trump and Barr decided that they were just going to fix it. And that's what they did. It's a plain and simple fix. And they can make all the excuses in the world. It'll be a fix forever. And that's it for me today.